Hey, what is up, friends? You got Gypsy back here today with my finals match in the Facebook Central Sun and Moon OU Cash Tournament. So, hope you guys are all having a good day so far. I just got done having some nice green tea, and yeah, I thought to myself, I better make some content because it's been a couple of days. So, yeah, we are here with my finals match up against Barath the Best. I believe that is how you pronounce this guy's name. This dude is obviously a beast. You know, he got the finals. So he's obviously no slouch. He's a pretty well-known ladder player. I've seen this guy on the ladder, pretty high ladder, a few times over my course of just playing OU and stuff. And he's clearly a good tour player to make it this far. So definitely got a big challenge on my hands. But it should be a good one because you know, it's finals, so it's gonna be hype. You already know. So the team I'm rocking with today is a team built by a guy called Snow, a really solid builder in the OU tier. He didn't build it for me personally, but I was passed it by my boy Ricardo. It consists of Scarf Faramosa and Specs Hooper. So a really fun, awesome pairing. Then we've got Spikes, Pharaoh, Defog, Finny, Roxlando, and Bloom Doom Heatran. So a really fun team to use. Really appreciates. Doesn't mind a stall matchup because Hooper breaks stall, but you know, Dougie is broken, so that kind of ruins Hooper's stall breaking ability after it kills one thing. But it's a pretty fun team overall. Like, this team is pretty nice versus stall, and my opponent actually used stall in his previous round, so I was potentially expecting stall, as well as the fact that I had been using a lot of teams that were very weak to stall up until this point in the tour. So I'd been using a lot of bear offense, a lot of bulky offense that took on opposing offense, but didn't really take on stall that well. Apart from that, those Shed Shell Lele teams that I was using, those Twisted Spoon Lele teams and Shed Shell Lele teams, they deal with it okay, but for the most part I was pretty vulnerable to like Sableye, Toxapex, Chansey stall, you know, Dougie stall. So I opted to bring this team, and by the looks of it, he's brought some really nice offense, some nice Mega Sharpedo offense, potentially Spikes Ninja. I know Sharpedo really does appreciate having those spikes up. He's not got removals, so spikes would make sense, plus Rocks Lando. Potentially a Scarfed Gengar. Not quite sure his Tapu Koko just looking at his team, but it could be a Life Orb set, or even like a Magnet set or something like that. And then the Lele could more than likely be a stall breaking variant, so I'm expecting this to be like a Shed Shell or a Twisted Spoon Lure variant. If that's the case, I think that Tapu Koko might be a stall breaking variant if Tapu Lele is not a Shed Shell variant. So those were just my thoughts going into the match. But I'm going to lead off with Lele. I am Scarfed, so I scare out a potential Roxlando, I scare out Ash, or even like Protein Lead Ninja with U-turn. But he makes the nice play of leading out with his Gengar, which really does check my lead Pheromosa. So I'm just going to U-turn out here and go out into my check to this, which is my my Heatran, sorry. I don't expect him to Focus Blast turn 1, just in case I did decide to stay in. Like, I could have been Sash, Quiver Dance, which, you know, if he risked missing a Focus Blast there, he could have put himself in a really bad position by having to, you know, being forced to stay in and take a +1 hit, and you know, just to break my Sash. So he goes for the safe Shadow Ball here. I go into my offensive Heatran now. This could be a Scarfed variant. Scarfed Heatran is pretty decent as it deals with Mega Metagross, which is just a nasty threat. It deals with a lot of stuff. Scarfed Heatran is pretty viable, and Scarfed Hooper is kind of bad. Like, I don't know. It depends who you ask, but like, I think Scarfed Hooper is a bit wasted on teams in terms of its stall breaking prowess. So yeah, Scarfed Heatran could make some sense. I could also be Scarfed Landorus, given the fact that I have multiple Rockers on my team, but I'm going to scare him out this turn, and he's going to go out into his Greninja as I go for an Earth Power here, just wanting to get damage off on what this did is, if he was a Scarfed variant of Heatran, I got necessary, I actually killed it with Earth Power there because I am like max special attack. I do have Balloon Doom on this set, and whilst I could have predicted him to switch out into one of his water types like Greninja or Sharpedo, wouldn't have switched out into Sharpedo, but I could have predicted him to switch out into Greninja here. But if he wasn't a Scarfed Gengar, he could have just potentially like stayed in to click Focus Blast, potentially have missed, meaning that Balloon Doom would have been wasted on that Gengar. It wouldn't have died, and he would have got another chance to kill my Heatran. So going for Earth Power was my play there, and I actually get a crit on this Greninja, which isn't really going to matter. You're going to see in the big scheme of things, but it's definitely going to show that I am an offensive variant. And he's actually going to switch this turn. He's going to go for the U-turn here, revealing that he's more than likely a Specs Ash Greninja because he wasn't packing Life Orb, he wasn't Protean, so he's clearly like Ash Greninja. And the most common set is either Life Orb or Specs Ash Greninja. So U-turn is often seen on those sets to gain momentum on incoming finis. So that's that was really nice. I make that read. I know he would want to go for U-turn there to maintain some momentum against my obvious Ferrothorn switch in, because he's kind of in the back. I've got some information on his Gengar. I know he's not a boosted item. I've done severe damage to his Greninja, putting him in range of stuff like putting him in range of anything on my team, really. Putting him in range of Gyro from Ferrothorn. Anything on my team he's going to drop to. So he's sort of in the back here, and I do know that he does like to play aggressively, so I do stay in here and I click Earth Power once more. And what this does is it kind of suggests that I don't want to use up my Z move, or that I'm potentially a Scarfed Heatran. But he has already outsped me with Greninja. His Greninja isn't a Scarfed variant, so he knows I'm not Scarfed. But I just go for an Earth Power here as he brings in his Tapu Lele, and this turn I am just going to go for the Bloom Doom as he goes for a Side Shock, presumably predicting my Landorus to come in, or my Fini to come in on the potential Focus Blast there, which makes a lot of sense because this Heatran it's not that good versus him, but it can still take another Shadow Ball from Gengar and get a kill with Earth Power. So I suppose there he was really just predicting me to go into my Fini, wanting to preserve Heatran and catch him on like a all-out pummeling or something like that, because Z-move Tapu Lele is pretty common. And preserving Heatran would have helped versus a slow Lando, versus this Scarf Gengar locking himself with the Sludge Wave, something like that. But now he's going to go into Gengar, and yeah, Heatran's done the work. It's used its Z-move, it's severely weakened Ninja, and it's taken out Lele, so I've got no reason to really preserve it here. It's going to die to any hit, so I'm just going to let it die hit at the Shadow Ball now, and I'm going to bring in my Hooper. Now, I know that he's more than likely a Scarf variant, unless he's just a Bluff God and is bluffing that he's a Z-move variant, but even a Z Shadow Ball wouldn't take out my Hooper from full, so I'm just going to click Dark Pulse. I contemplated, no, not this turn, Dark Pulse was 100% my play this turn, so he's going to bring in his Tapu Koko here, and U-turn it's screaming U-turn because, he should be aware that like Tapu Koko doesn't kill Hooper from full with a T-Bolt, even if he is Spec. So I'm going to go out to my Ferrothorn, which covers both the U-turn and the T-Bolt play, as we get some nice Iron Barbs damage off on his Tapu Koko, and now he's going to bring in his Lando. Now, I didn't expect this to be a Z-Fly variant. It could have been a rocking Z-Fly variant, that's very true, but and I guess that would kind of make sense with his Sharpedo to weaken Ferrothorns for his Sharpedo to clean. But at the same time, I feel like Lele is a better abuser of Scarf. I think he really does appreciate Rocky Helmet on this team, as this is like really his only defensive mon. So he's going to go for Rocks here, and this kind of confirms, it doesn't confirm that he's not Z-Fly, but this definitely made me think he was more of a defensive set. So he's going to go for Rocks here as I leech, and this turn I am going to get a round of Spikes up, which is going to be really nice, allowing me to chip down the Gengar as well as the Sharpedo, which is really appreciated. Obviously the Tapu Koko is going to be getting chipped as well, which is really solid because it's going to put itself closer in range of dying to my Scarf Pheromosa. So Gengar's going to come in here. I'm going to protect this turn just to scout what he wants to lock himself into, and he actually goes for the trick. So really solid there, maybe trying to catch my Ferrothorn, wanting to be brave and staying on a Focus Blast, or maybe even wanting to catch my Fini, trying to tank a Focus Blast. But what I can do now is put him in somewhat of a real tough position, because I can go into my choice Specs Hooper, and if he wants to trick again, he's going to trade me the Scarfed, which is actually amazing in this matchup, because if you look at his team, Scarfed Hooper outspeeds the Lando, and it's going to outspeed the Gengar. I'm not going to outspeed the Coco, unfortunately, because I'm a modest variant, but it's going to be enough to potentially scare out his Coco, and it's going to be enough to let me revenge a Gengar and a Landorus, which is going to be really nice. So I'm going to switch into my Hooper here, and this is obviously the mon on my team that doesn't care about getting the Scarf. Stuff like Finny and Ferrothorn, even my own Lando for that matter, do really not want to get the Scarf. You know, it's going to really cripple my defensive mons, so I'm very happy with making that trade. So he gets Specs, which is obviously worrying, but my Hooper is now capable of revenging this Gengar, even with the Specs, because I will outspeed. So I can fire off a Dark Pulse here. Now this turn I contemplated going for Psychic, as it would have 2-hit KO'd this Coco. But like I mentioned earlier, I don't actually outspeed Tapu Koko, even with a Scarf, if he's max speed. And I don't, and I didn't want to give him a free switch into Sharpedo. Had he gone into Sharpedo there, predicting my Side Shock, to tank a Dark Pulse, he would have taken at least half, because Sharpedo's frail and Hooper's a beast. So Dark Pulse was my play there, and what this does is it now puts Tapu Koko in a range where after another round of spikes, it's going to guarantee die to a Dark Pulse. It's going to die to a Dark Pulse from this range without the spikes, but I don't outspeed. So if he wants to switch in one more time to Koko, it's obviously going to drop. So he's going to go for a U-turn here as I go out into my Landorus, and this is really nice. I get sorry, this isn't a Rocky Helmet Landorus, this is actually a Yachi variant of Landorus, so that's pretty nice for me. He's going to switch out to his own Landorus here as I go for an Earthquake, knowing I can tank, potentially scare him out with the likelihood that I am a Scarfed Landorus, but more so I can tank an Icy Wind if he did want to go for that there. But he goes out to his own Landorus, and I am going to go for the U-turn here, as he does reveal to be a Helmet variant, so that's really nice for my Ferrothorn. I don't have to worry about him being Z-Fly, as he's going to U-turn here, maintaining momentum, and this allows him to go back out into his Gengar, you know, which is obviously a threat now that the thing is Specs, but I can go into my Landorus and kind of sack it off here, as it isn't doing much versus his team, barring being a ground resist for his own Landorus, as well as being a Intimidator for Sharpedo. But, you know, I've got my Ferrothorn nice and healthy, I have my Tapu Fini in the back, which really does check his Sharpedo, unless I get really weakened and he has Poison Jab, but I'm feeling pretty confident versus his Sharpedo, so I'm going to let Landorus go there, as the rest of my mons really do put in the work versus his team. So in comes my Scarfed Hooper. He's really now got to pick a sack, because his Tapu Koko is severely weakened, and Gengar is pretty useful versus my team, so it stops me from spamming High Jump Kick, as does Landorus. But he's going to let his Tapu Koko to go down, which is really nice. Now he's going to bring in his Sharpedo, and here I could make the hard switch out to my Finny or my Ferrothorn here on his potential Protect, which would let him potentially get a free hit off on me if he goes for Crunch. If he goes for Protect here, it's no big deal. Hooper has a chance here to potentially get a hit off, and that's going to be really nice. It's going to put him in range of a couple of rounds of Iron Barbs from my Ferrothorn. So I do go for Dark Pulse here, and it does a shit ton. It does 69. Nice 69%. It leaves his Crunch leaves me on 8 because he is not Mega Evolved yet, so his Crunch is significantly weaker. And Hooper tanking those hits, man. That's good to see. So I'm gonna switch out now. I'm gonna go into my Ferrothorn, as I know he's gonna Mega Evolve, but I can tank a couple of Crunches just because Ferrothorn is bulky. You know, Ferrothorn's nice and defensive, so he's gonna Protect there that turn. I don't really agree with that, because like he should have. I think he should have crunched there, to be honest, because he outsped my Hooper. Like, he outsped my Hooper unless he was like adamant no speed Sharpedo. He outsped my Scarfed Hooper there, and by Mega Evolving, even not by Mega Evolving, even just by hitting Crunch. Actually, no, I understand what he was doing there. He didn't want to let my potential Scarf Pheromos outspeed, so he wanted to guarantee himself +2 speed. And a non-Mega Evolved Crunch would be significantly weaker against Ferrothorn. So had I stayed in there and just sacked off Hooper, as it did die to Rocks, yeah, I can understand that play. So forget I said anything. I can understand why he made that play. But nonetheless, Ferrothorn is going to get another round of spikes up, which just puts his Gengar closer to dying to Scarfed Ice Beam, because at this point Sharpedo is going to die to one more round of Iron Barbs damage, and I have a Scarf Pheromosa in the back with Ice Beam, who I know can beat Landorus. and you know, if I get like if I get a few rounds of spikes up, it guarantees I kill like max HP Gengar at 25%. You know what I mean? So just in case, I didn't really have any reason to make any other play. I know Sharpedo has to make contact with me, and I lose nothing by getting some layers of spikes up. So I'm just going to protect this turn just to make sure, just because I can potentially live another hit. After, as you see, is crunching, it does 51, so Ferrothorn lives another day, and I do get my third round of spikes up, so he's going to bring in his Lando here and just take out my Ferrothorn with the Earthquake, and that's pretty nice because this lets me go into my Pheromosa here and just click Ice Beam. And yeah, Gengar's going to go down after these round of spikes to the Ice Beam here, which is really nice, and we just pick up the win in game 1. So that was game 1, very fun game. I really do like this team. Heatran put in that early game work for sure, and yeah, Scarf Tupa just, you know, just taking lives late game, so that's good to see. But yeah, I'm going to pause it here and we'll be back with game 2 in just a second. Alright guys, so we're back with game 2 up against Barath the Best. And yeah, we've brought pretty similar teams. Like, we've both got the Metagross Lando double Tapu Core, you know, standard Gen 7 OU. But he's got Kartana and Greninja, while I have Pheromosa and Mamoswine the God. So this team was made by my boy Ricardo. So shoutouts to Ricardo for building and passing me most of the teams I've used in this tour. I really do appreciate that, and yeah, Ricardo's a great builder. So, and yeah, so the team I'm going to be using this match is consisting of Expert Belt Pheromosa, really nice set. I like this one a lot. It really bluffs Scarf, and you can get some big damage off. Expert Belt High Jump Kicks are hitting hard versus, you know, super effective hits. Ice Beam is the beauty of this set really is that it allows you to bluff a nice Scarf set. And then we have the Bolt Beam coverage on Metagross with the Elemental Punches, EQ, and then Meteor Mash. Then we have, you know, defensive Tapu Fini, defensive Lando Rocks, HP Fire on this set, so, you know, dealing with Katana is easier. And then we have a Life Orb, naive Mamoswine with Freeze Dry. So yeah, Freeze Dry is pretty nice for like stuff like Mantine and Pelipper. You know, decent for hitting Fini on the switch if you want to hit, you know, an Ice Week and you want to make that like mid-ground prediction. And then we have Scarfed Lele in the back as a kind of safety net versus offense. So yeah, he's brought a very offensive team. When you see Kartana and Metagross, it's kind of scary seeing them together because they both really kind of pressure the same check. I can tell my Landorus is going to be heavily pressured in this match. Definitely pressured hard, especially if he is a double dance Landorus, because my Landorus is not packing HPI, so that's going to definitely be more annoying to take on. However, I do obviously have my Mamoswine, which is a nice check to double dance Landorus. So yeah, that's pretty solid. But we're going to jump into the match. He's going to lead off with his Metagross, as I'm going to lead off with my Pheromosa. If he wants to make the turn 1 bullet punch play, he can. It's not really going to affect the outcome of the match, but he could, you know, but he doesn't. I'm just going to U-turn here, as he's going to get 29%, decent chunk, taken off. I'm going to go into my Metagross here, just in case he wanted to go for the Ice Punch, predicting my Landorus to come in. Meteor Mash also does a lot to my Fini, so going into Gross, there was my play, as he actually gets the attack raise on Meteor Mash, the nice 20% attack raise. So this is huge. This makes his Mega Gross. This is really one of the reasons that why Gross is so broken. But yeah, this boost is a real issue for my core to take him on, because, you know, I have Lando to pivot into, I have Fini to pivot into on Ice Punches. But this is going to really require me to play kind of carefully around this. So this turn I'm going to switch out, going to go into my Lando here on his Thunder Punch. So he Thunder Punches here, predicting my Fini to come in there, which was a nice play because, you know, Fini tanks and Ice Punch. Like, the switch into Lando there is really obvious. Fini tanks if I want to go for Ice Punch, and then I can switch out to my Landers the turn after to kind of encourage him to go for Mash or Thunder Punch there. But he makes the Thunder Punch play. That would have done easily over half to my Fini, so that would have really weakened it for potential specs Ash Greninja. So that's definitely nice. We got that play right. As this turn I'm going to switch back out, go into my Tapu Fini on his Ice Punch, and Ice Punch, we're going to chew that up, and this turn I can just fire for Nature's Madness. Ideally I'd like to pivot back into my Landers, but Before I want to get a little bit of chip off with a Nature's Madness, just putting this thing in range for a few Rocky helmet hits, as well as putting him in range of U-turn. So after he takes 1 round of helmet damage, he's going to be in range of U-turn. You saw Pheromosa's U-turn did around, it did, for turn 1, it did actually 29%. So if we get another round of helmet damage off, he'll be revenged by my Pheromosa. So I'm going to go into my Lando here, as he does go for the Ice Punch. He makes the nice read there. Pretty obvious read, but a nice read nonetheless. And he takes the necessary damage I need to take him out with U-turn. So if he does decide to preserve his Gross here, I will be in a solid position late game to just take him out with my Pheromosa. So he's going to go for Mash. It doesn't do much to Metagross as he is at -1. And now I can just fire off a Mash of my own, just in case he wanted to switch out to Landorus. I do have Ice Punch on this set, so I would have been able to mash into Ice Punch the following turn and take him out. But he's going to go into his Landorus here, and I'm not about to sack off Gross here, as it is a pretty decent check to his Tapu Lele. He's going to go for an Earthquake. I went into my Mamoswine knowing I could live any hit, barring a Z-Fly, and had he gone for Rocks there, which is very probable, like he could have gone for Rocks, but I think going for Earthquake was his best play, just in case I decided to get kind of cheeky and stay in an Ice Punch. Definitely Earthquake was his play there, but the reason I go into Mamoswine here is if he is a Double Dance variant, like I mentioned earlier, when we were kind of going through the team breakdown, and I go into my own Landorus trying to dodge an Earthquake, and he actually like sets up a Rock Polish, and then he sets up an SD on my Landorus, I'm kind of screwed. So had he set up an SD on my switch out to Landorus, he could have Z-Flyed and taken me out, which would have been really rough, because then I would have lost a solid Intimidator for his Kartana, which is going to be important. So going out to Mamoswine covered, I knew I lived the Earthquake, and if he did want to set up, I could scare him out with the Ice Shard. So this turn I know he's going to switch out. But just in case he decides to stay in, I'm going to go for Freeze right here. It covers the Greninja, it covers the Lele if he wanted to switch in on a potential Ice Shard, and it also covers, it gets decent damage off on the Lele, and it covers if he wants to switch to Finny here, which is his likeliest play. So he's going to go into a Tapu Finny here. It also did more to Kartana than going for Ice Shard, so we do get the Freeze Dry off, and it does a decent chunk to Finny. And basically, this just means I'm going to be able to get an Earthquake, take a decent chunk off the Finny. It's going to do, I'd say around 50. Like it's going to do a decent chunk to this Tapu Finny, and that's going to make a lot easier for my Expert Belt Pheromosa to win late game. It's also going to open up my Tapu Lele to really put in work. As you see, his team now very weak to Scarf Moonblast, very weak to Scarf Moonblast. Like, once I weaken this thing, then Kartana gets to a code. His own Lele isn't really a switch in, especially because I have Gross in the back to switch into that, and my own Tapu Finny. So, weakening Tapu Finny, his Tapu Finny is absolutely huge. I'm gonna go for an Earthquake here, and I get a really gay crit. Like this crit is just this crit sucked. He would have taken out my Mamoswine there, which would have meant he would have had Tapu Finny around on his team. Like I said, it would have been just sack fodder for my Tapu Lele or my Gross or something like that. But it still would have been nice for him to keep around. I am Expert Belt Pheromosa, so I could have, like, if he did want to switch in on a high jump kick, I would have just poison jabbed in the next turn. Nonetheless, it was another sack for him to have, and crits suck, so that was definitely unfortunate. But I'm going to let Mamoswine go down here. Questionable play, because he does have a Landorus, but the reason I let it go down there is that I didn't want my Landorus is at 28%. I wanted to be able to go into my Landorus freely, like get a safe switch into Landorus on Kartana, just in case he was. This thing is a massive threat to my team, and if he is like an SD, like Timid set, he could get a speed boost and outspeed my both my Scarfed Lele and my Pheromosa at +1. So that was definitely a scenario I was really concerned about. But he does get the Leaf Blade kill. He does get the Leaf Blade kill on my Mamoswine, and you're going to see that he gets the attack boost. So this means that he's not the Timid SD set, as his attack stat is higher than his speed stat. But he could be a Scarf set. That was definitely something I was concerned about, which is why I don't go out into my Landorus there. I felt as though sacking off Mamoswine there gave me, whilst I did lose a nice Revenger to Landorus, it did give me vital information on this Kartana. Not to mention the fact that there are two Leles on both sides of the field. Psychic Terrain is bound to go up at some point, so that kind of renders Mamoswine as a useless check to his Landorus if it is a fast Landorus or if it is a Rock Polish variant. So I'm going to bring in my Metagross here, knowing I can tank a +1 Leaf Blade and just scare this Kartana out with the Ice Punch as he goes out into his Landorus. I had Earthquake there. I had Earthquake on my set, which obviously would have done more to that Kartana, but he has a Landorus that he can just switch in on a potential Hammer Arm. And me bringing Metagross in on Kartana kind of signals that I have Hammer Arm, as Earthquake can't kill, and Leaf Blade would have 2-hit KO'd me at +1. So that was a bluff on my part, and it paid off as he goes into his Landorus. Now I get a crit here. This doesn't matter in the sense that Landorus would have died to 2 Ice Punches, but you know, had he decided to preserve Lander and switch out into something like Kartana to take an Ice Punch, he's putting himself closer to dying to my Landorus and my Pheromosa. Because once I get a kill with Pheromosa, I do get a speed boost. So that's something to keep in mind. But I get another crit there. That wasn't like we even spoke about it like after the game. That didn't have anything on the crit versus Finny. That was really unfortunate. And that Ice Punch there, crit there was kind of, you know, pretty trivial in the big scheme of the game, but it's still annoying, you know, it's still annoying. As had I not got the crit, I would have been forced to take another round of helmet damage, which would mean that I am closer to dying to Leaf Blade from Kartana. So yeah, that was unfortunate for sure in that sense. But he's going to go into his Greninja here, and he's going to fire for Dark Pulse. Now he's going to get his Ash Form evolution here, which makes Greninja so much more of a threat. But if I can get a speed boost with Pheromosa here, I don't have to worry about a Scarfed Kartana outspeeding me and OHKOing me with you know, Smart Strike or Leaf Blade at +1. If I can get a speed boost here, I don't have to worry about his Greninja outspeeding hitting up a Water Shuriken, because he's going to have to bring in his Tapu Lele. If he doesn't bring his Tapu Lele, then his Kartana is going to die. Like, if I go for High Jump Kick here, and he sacks Greninja, he loses a wave revenging my Pheromosa. He loses a wave beating my Landorus, as I do have HP Fire in my set, and I will live a neutral or a -1 hit from Kartana. So basically, if I'm a Scarfed Pheromosa, which I have brought to a lot of my games, E-Belt wasn't seeing usage up to this point. Well, wasn't seeing usage, doesn't see much usage in general, but if I'm a Scarfed Pheromosa and I either U-turn or High Jump Kick here, I take out the Greninja, and he knows that. If I go for High Jump Kick and he switches out into his Kartana, he dies. He loses his Kartana, he's going to lose to Scarfed Lele, and he's going to lose to Scarfed Pheromosa's U-turn spam. If he goes out into Tapu Lele on my High Jump Kick, he's going to chew that up because Lele 4 times resists. He's also going to live a U-turn if I choose to do that, and he's going to be able to fire for big hit. I don't know if his Lele is a Specs variant. I don't know if it's like, I know it's probably not Scarfed because he already has Scarfed Katana, but he's more than likely like a Z move variant, maybe like Z Fighting or something like that. He can definitely get a big hit off on my team. He could even be the Z Psychic. So I definitely I can't really. It's not really about letting Tapu Lele get damage on my team. It's more about taking advantage of the fact that he really does need to switch out into Tapu Lele here to guarantee himself the win. And as I mentioned, I am an expert belt set, so by making the prediction here of him going out into Tapu Lele, I'm going to click Poison Jab, and what this does is this guarantees that I get a kill on Tapu Lele. If I go for High Jump Kick and he's for some reason like double Scarfed, he's going to take out my Pheromosa. So I really have to to make the ballsy play this turn and click Poison Jab on his Tapu Lele, and we take out the Tapu Lele and we get the speed boost. This means that Psychic terrain is up. Ash Greninja can't just come in here and click Water Shuriken as it's blocked by the terrain, and this forces him to go into his Scarfed Kartana here to potentially dodge a High Jump Kick, or hope that I am Scarfed and locked into Poison Jab. During the match, I believe my opponent did assume I was a Scarf set, and he didn't expect me to be able to click High Jump Kick here, but we do reveal that we are an Expert Belt set, or at least just not a Scarf set, and we will be able to take this Greninja out here with the U-turn. So that was game 2 versus my opponent. Definitely this match, the early Earthquake crit versus the Tapu Fini was really unfortunate for my opponent, as he would have had another late game sack. I would have lost to -1 a turn earlier. Granted, I did sack it the next turn to Kartana, but he would have had another sack. However, it still would have been at a range of health where it would have just dropped to a poison jab from Expert Belt Formosa. So there's that, but it you know, it's unfortunate, but I don't really think it changed the outcome of the game. But yeah, sometimes hacks just, you know, hacks influences the game, but I don't think that really changed the outcome, as E-Belt Formosa wasn't, you know, choice locked into a move that wasn't going to be choice locked into a move that couldn't kill Finny. So I don't really see Finny having done that much work, considering I did have Metagross and my Tabalele in the back. But that was my finals. That was my finals rounds versus Bharat the Best. Definitely a fun series. Like in that last game, I was really happy to see the poison jab play, come through, and it was a fun series. He was a good sport throughout the whole thing, and even with the hacks in game 2, he was a real good sport about it, and it was a lot of fun to face him. Hopefully, I'll get to face him again if I join another one of these Facebook Central Cash tours. So definitely looking forward to that. But hope you guys enjoyed my coverage of my tour, of this Facebook Central tour, my run of it. And yeah, it's fun to mix it up, get a bit of change from the normal draft format content. Hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys more of these. I'm actually in OSD. I'm in round 2 at the moment, but my opponent is not answering me, so I don't know if I'm who knows, I might even get the activity win and just move on to round 3, which would really suck because I do want the content for the channel. But who knows? Like it's just Pokemon at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter. But hopefully I'll be able to bring that to you guys sometime soon. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did, and let me know what you guys thought of the finals round, and just my whole run as a whole. Obviously, it's nice to win some money playing Pokemon. It's not really something that happens every day, so that's pretty cool because it's a fun game, and it never hurts to earn a bit of money on the side. So yeah, definitely a fun experience. Shout out to the Facebook Central group for organizing this. Yeah, definitely good fun. So yeah guys, with that I'm gonna head off. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.